Welcome to the Serious Comedians podcast, the podcast where comedians are serious in a conversation for the first time in their lives. Today I have with me Eggert Smári, who is an active comedian here in the Reykjavik comedy scene. He's also been abroad doing some stand-up. We might get into that later, but welcome to the show, Eggert.
Thank you for having me.
What was it like trying to find parking around here?
Terrible. I hate it. It's like, there's because I love the nature and I love the planet that we live on. I drive an electric car, and there's a charging station right outside. When I got to it, a fucking car that uses gas. Mm-hmm. Took another string. That car is backing up. Oh, like, hey, great. No. A little bit up the street, another car, a gas car, had his blinker on, so I couldn't really take it. But I waited for him to park, and then I rolled down my window and yelled at him.
Yeah, and I have another electric car too. And at this point, I think at this point in history, you have to be a real jerk to have a gas car. So, and obviously, jerks are going to do what jerks do, like park in spots where they're not supposed to park. Yeah. What if we, after this podcast, we just go out there and wait by the car until this person comes back?
I like it.
And then we...
do you have umbrella? Because it's pouring down rain.
Yeah, that's right. Let's not do that. No. Okay, and this is an example of a serious conversation. Just if any of our viewers don't know what it looks a little bit like that, where people are just talking about the rain and parking and stuff like that. The whole podcast will be like that. And actually, this is the second time we're having that conversation because we started the podcast and I had forgotten to press the recording button. So this was rehearsed.
Yeah.
The first rehearsed part of this podcast. But I get you were a part of the Secret Cellar, which was the comedy club that we used to have here in Reykjavik. Which was a COVID casualty, killed by COVID in 2020 or 2021.
Yeah. 2021.
And can you tell me a little bit about how you got involved with the Secret Cellar?
I just like every other comic, I just started out on an open mic. Then summer 2019, I got my first guest spot on a Friday show. And from there, just gradually every month, getting a little bit better and better. But then 2020, I took a really good business decision to start my first company, making food.
Hot sauces.
And I invested in a comedy club. And then 2 months later, COVID came. So, yeah, I was in the catering business and I managed to get into the comedy business that, of course, both of them closed down.
The worst point in history that you could have done those things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And when exactly did you invest in the Secret Cellar?
Like 2020, right when we all remember the first wave.
Mm-hmm. March and in April.
Yeah. And I remember that was like only 300 people in like 3 weeks. And we thought, like, oh, that's crazy. Mm-hmm. And then that died down. And I thought, oh, okay, this is over, And then I think I invested it in April because we had to close down. Then the former owner kind of went bankrupt. And we just started a new company, named it the same thing. And and we're going to keep on going. But then, the second wave and the third and the fourth. And
so you probably thought that this was over and now is a good time to get invested in comedy. To have a fresh start with that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. This was not.
No. And then for a while, it was like you never knew more than, like, you never knew what was going to happen tomorrow.
No.
They were changing the rules all the time. So sometimes it was allowed and sometimes it wasn't.
Yeah, and sometimes it was so weird. Like sometimes you were allowed to go out to eat, but you were not allowed to sit like this. Mm-hmm. Like if you went on a date, she had to be next to you for some reason because they're like, oh, then it won't spread. But you both kind of eating from the same table and everything.
And you're not talking away from each other. You're gonna be looking at each other when you talk. No, that's just how communication works.
Yeah. And then for a while, you like down at the Secret Cellar, they pointed out that like because we were saying like we can't run a whole comedy club when we can only sell 20 seats. Like it's not gonna make any money.
Yeah, it used to be like, I don't know, it's 60 or plus people in there?
70, 75. And then somebody pointed out from the health organization, they like pointed out to us, like, but you know, if you take 2 chairs and you put them back to back, that's allowed. We're like, okay, so you want half of our audience to turn back to the stage.
Yeah, either you'll have everybody with their side towards the stage,
Yes.
or one person who can enjoy it and the other person who can be on their phone, I guess.
Yeah. No, or we just do 2 shows. You can listen to one, and then we turn around, and now
do
you
do it again on the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was all these regulations were just like they never made any sense.
No, and that's the time when I did my first open mic, and sometime in late summer 2019. I just remembered that because the weather was nice and it was like a nice bright day, and I did it, and I really bad, of course, like everybody at the first time.
Yep.
I had a couple of jokes, but everything else was just me telling stories that nobody cares about. And then it was about 6 months until I started going back to the Secret Cellar in the beginning of 2020, before the COVID stuff hit. And then at that point, I had really committed. I was like, okay, I love stand-up comedy. I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah.
And then they decided to cancel it, basically.
Yeah. Soon as they said, all right, COVID is over, or whatever they decided, it was like, do you remember that countdown? It was like on May 13 or something. Yeah. Then all of a sudden COVID is gonna not exist.
Yeah.
So I think it was on that day the owner of the building said like, okay, we are gonna go into full swing now, but you guys are not gonna be here. We're like, what? We thought that we were gonna have a meeting that day on how we're going to build up the scene. And then on that day, just came like a lightning out of clear sky. Like, Eggert just said like, nope, I'm gonna turn this back into circus or whatever he did.
Okay, so you've been a struggling comedy club through COVID. It was a very successful comedy club before that.
Yep.
Packed house every weekend.
Yeah.
And then COVID starts, finally being over, and you're having this meeting with the owner of the place, and you're expecting to talk about recovering and then what is it he says? What's the rationale? Did he just not believe in comedy anymore, or?
Yeah, something like that. I think he thought that comedy would not be able to come back because it kind of died out, and when they started to open up the clubs again, people seems to be going. But we still had to go through a lot of restrictions, even though that you were allowed to go to a nightclub. So I think he just didn't believe in it at that point and just turned it into some dark place that went bankrupt in like 3 months.
Yeah, it's closed again. Yeah. And do you know about anything? Do you know about any plans for anybody to open another comedy club or anything like that? You aware of anything like that?
No, I've heard people ask me about it, and there has been a couple of people that were kind of wanted to know if they would start a comedy club, if I could run it for them. But no, not really. But I hope so.
Mm-hmm. So at this point, Reykjavik does not have a comedy club. But there's a few places that have comedy nights or that have regular comedy shows.
Yeah. It is. I mean, it's Dubliner, the basement. It's Gaukurinn. It's Loft, and it's and now Málamenning
and Kiki.
And Kiki.
Yeah.
So it seems to be coming back, but it would be really good if it could all just be in the same place.
Yeah.
And also there's a comedy night starting in in Mars gonna be Fridays at Catalina, or like there's some room next to Catalina in Coburg.
Oh,
They're gonna start doing some nights there.
Catalina, what is that? I never heard of it.
It's a bar in Hamraborg.
Okay.
It's a bar where a lot of old people hang around that don't have any teeth or eyes and are just drunk all the time. I think you call them bums. It's like every time I go there, it's like walking through a Quentin Tarantino movie set. It's like there's always a guy that was like with some patch on his eye or like missing 3 teeth. You're just like, what the hell? But it's not there. It's a room that is owned by the guy that runs Catalina, and he wants to try to make some money. So that's like a separate bar and everything, but it's next to it. And I don't think it has any name. It's just the room next to it.
I assume that would be Icelandic, because the English ones are mainly for tourists in downtown Reykjavik.
Yeah, no, this is English.
English, okay. Okay.
Because around that place, there's a lot of people that maybe live in Iceland, but they don't speak Icelandic.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And a lot of them actually live in that part of the town.
Yeah, a lot of immigrants in that area.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, we're gonna try to entertain them, I guess.
Yeah, I read somewhere that half of the people living in downtown Reykjavik are immigrants, including myself. So it's not just tourists.
No.
But yeah, lots of things happening in the comedy scene right now. But one of the disadvantages to being in many different places is that none of the rooms, none of the places where it is, are made specifically for comedy.
No.
So there's lots of characteristics about the places that might not be helpful for stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
So you just kind of have to make do with what you have, try and make it as good as you can.
Yeah. I think I've seen the room for Catalina. That actually looks like a little bit like a comedy club, but you're not gonna get a lot of tourists there, So, but at least hopefully you get people from Hafnarfjörður and Coburg to go there. Remember when we were doing at Spot?
Yeah, there was a nightclub in Coburg where you did some comedy shows.
I mean, when we were in COVID, because it was so big, even in COVID, I remember we sold 98 tickets to that, but we could spread them out in section A and section B and blah, blah. So, and a lot of people told me when I start bringing that up, saying like, hey, we could go there. There's a huge space. I mean, but it's not made for comedy. It's a high ceiling and all that. And everybody told me like, oh, nobody's going to go to Copenhagen to go to a show. And then I put it on and I sold 98 tickets. And that was the maximum that I could sell for that space. So I think that what we're going to try in Copenhagen now, I think it's going to be a good extra for the comedy scene.
Yeah. It's a lot of trying different rooms. There's a lot of, you learn a lot of different things from that. You learn a lot about what it is that makes comedy work.
Yeah.
You need to get people's attention. You need to keep people's attention. You need to keep people not talking amongst each other while the show is going on.
Yeah.
And in order to do, there's lots of different ways to do that. Having a low ceiling and a dark room with spotlights on the scene and lots of different ways.
Yeah. Do you have anything like a go-to when you really need to get the people's attention? Do you have any trick that you kind of do?
Well, yesterday I had a plan. There was a show, an open mic at a place called Málamenning yesterday.
Yeah.
And it's been there. It just started. It's been there 3 evenings in a row. I was there all night, and I bombed like horribly the first 2, like worse than I don't know if I've ever bombed so badly before. It was painful to my soul. So the third time, I knew I have to do something to catch people's attention. Like I really have to come up with some way to make them instantly look at me and pay attention to me. And I'm quite a clean comedian. I don't have a lot of like sex, fucking, or boobs or tits. I try to be a bit clean, and those are the kinds of things that can get people's attention by being a little bit shocking or something like that. So what I came up with was I was going to bring up the Holocaust, like right as soon as I get up on stage. I have a little Holocaust bit where the only thing I'm saying is the Holocaust happened and they killed a lot of people.
Yep.
But I'm not going to do the bit right now for you, but that's the gist of it. And then as I walk into Marlemenning before the show, I see that my boss at my real job is sitting in the front. Like, she's an older lady. She's not, and I don't know if she watches a lot of
Survivor.
She might as well been, because I was, as soon as I saw her there, I just knew I can't bring up the Holocaust. That's the first thing I do when I'm on stage with my boss there. I don't need it. Even though it's not an offensive bit, I don't think there's nothing controversial about it. I don't know if she would get it. She might only hear me say the Holocaust and not hear me say anything else. Yeah. So I had nothing.
Yeah,
that was my plan, and I had to ditch it as soon as I walked in.
Damn.
So then I just had to rely on starting with good jokes.
Yeah. I've noticed. I don't like when I'm hosting the open mics. It's like you have to go back up on stage every time. But sometimes whoever's on the stage kind of loses the crowd completely and just keeps on going, and nothing is happening. And when I get back, I have 1 minute to get everybody's attention to be able to bring the next comic. And I don't know if you have noticed it, like I touched the zipper on my fly.
Really?
And like look down, like pretended to like, oh, is my fly open?
Uh-huh.
And everybody just look, is his fly open? And then I'll just keep on going. But now it's like it took like a 1 second, and I got everybody to get off the phone and like to see is his fly open or not. But I mean, it's always closed. But
it's a good trick.
Yeah, it's a good trick.
Yeah, well, I never even thought of that.
Oh yeah. But yeah, I had to start inventing these things then when I was like doing open mics, and sometimes it was just horrible nights, and a lot of people had tough sets, and the crowd was rowdy or something. You just like, I mean, because you can't always go up and like try to get everybody to laugh in like 2 or 3 minutes. You need more, and if you're gonna do that and you have 12 people on the lineup, I mean, that's gonna be the longest open mic ever.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know if you were on that open mic. It was at the Secret Cellar. I think we started at 9 o'clock. Stepner was hosting. We started at 9. And I think I got off stage at 12:15. And then there were like 3 more people.
So it must have been like 20 people or something.
No, that was not it. It was like, I think it was like 16, 17 people. But also like I don't know, everybody was drunk, everybody was running over time. Stepner was doing way too much in between, and it's like the longest 4-hour
4-hour marathon, yeah.
Yeah. So, and after that, I think Secret Cellar said, okay, it's only 12 people, and that's it.
2 hours maximum of like for me.
Yeah,
even that is a long time. Sometimes, if it's not a good show, to be there for 2 hours.
Yeah.
But if it's a good show, then time flies more easily at least.
Yeah, I think so. And also like every time the show is maybe 1.5 hours, it feels much like more professional. It doesn't seems that long, but as soon as you start to go over 2 hours, I don't care how good the comics are, the people that are there, they've been maybe sitting there for 2.5 hours drinking, they kind of want to start doing something else now.
Yeah.
It's like, the only reason why I don't walk out of movie theaters when the movie is more than 3 hours is just because I don't want to be unpolite.
Are there any movies that are that long anymore? They used to be like in the 50s, or 60s. They were like 3-4 hours long.
Well, they were. I remember
some of the movies at least.
Like in the 80s and the 90s and the 20s, they were like 90. Mm-hmm. It was like 110. It was like everybody like, whoa, it's gonna take all my life. now, like, isn't every Marvel movie at least 2.5 hours?
Could be. I don't watch Marvel movies. I have no idea.
I think the newest one, the Wakanda Forever or whatever. Yeah, I think that's like 2 hours and 45 minutes or something.
Scarface is like 3 hours or something. That's I started watching it, and I started watching it, and it's so long that Netflix removed it off of the site before I finished it. Literally.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Literally. So I've seen 3/4 of Scarface, and now it's not available anymore. I mean, I guess it was too long. It took up too much space on their servers.
Wow. And it took too long time for you to watch it. Maybe it's just your internet is slow.
Yeah, they were talking really slowly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know, did they talk slow like that in the 70s?
everybody kind of just gently walking across the street.
Yeah, they're all on cocaine, but somehow walking real slowly.
Yeah.
It didn't make sense at the time. Now that you say that, it makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
But do you have any other tips for getting people's attention? Because we all know comedians, we love attention. With this, yeah, we need attention. So, any other tips for our viewer?
No, I think you need to every time. What you can do if you know the person in the audience actually can handle it is another thing. Going like, oh my God, I know you guys can't see this, but, and then you just make something up. Doesn't even have to be true. But as soon as you go, like, I know you guys can't see it, now everybody wants to see it.
So you're pointing at the front row and saying that something's going on there? That's
like they have weird stuff or make fun of their shoes, or you just find something, you know. Okay. And but as soon as you do that, you get everybody's attention. But now you have to maintain it. Mm-hmm. And now you have to go to a joke that you always know that works, and then kind of get everybody. Or what I do sometimes is, like, when people are done with their set, I kind of like mention something, what they were talking about. So I try to keep that. If they got a good laugh at a joke, I'll try to reference that joke. Mm-hmm. And keep it going like that. But yeah, otherwise, I mean, it is just. I remember we were at I think it was a Friday night at the Cellar, and it was Halloween. I remember that, and there was some show going on, and everybody was in costume, and it was so crowded. And people were getting so riled up, and everybody was like so drunk that little cellar, it looked like a fight in a prison just broke out. It was like a woman. The first thing I saw, there was a woman doing cartwheels on the floor.
When the show was going on?
No, right before the show. And then in the break, everybody stood up and tried to leave or tried to go and get a beer, and it was just mayhem. And I remember it was a guy kind of in the middle of it. Just stood up, and he had had a cigarette in his hand, and he was like trying to look at the door and trying to find a way where he could, and then he's like, and just light it up like in the middle.
Just like right there.
Yeah, you're like, I guess I'm not going in with. So when it's like that, I don't care how good comic you are, you're not gonna get these people to listen to anything you're gonna say.
Yeah, those are.
I mean,
most people hate public speaking.
Yeah.
And doing stand-up comedy when people are not laughing, it's basically you trying to be funny in front of people and you're not, and trying to be funny in front of anybody if it's not working. It's horrible. It's a horrible feeling if you tell somebody a joke and there's no reaction.
Yeah.
Try doing it to your friend at home. Tell them a joke, and if there's no reaction. Imagine if you did that to 100 people and nobody. Yeah, you die inside a little bit.
Yeah, and I even have that sometimes when I'm just hanging around with my friends, and I get a funny thought. Oh, hey, this is kind of funny. I still hesitate a little bit because now it's just me and my 3 friends, and if they're not gonna laugh, it's gonna be awkward. Mm-hmm. You know, still like I go on stage like almost every day. But still, you are a little bit afraid of, because like you said, it's like, and sometimes when you say something that you think is funny and they don't get it, or they didn't really hear the beginning of the joke or something.
Yeah.
It's not only you just public speaking. You just sometimes sounds like an asshole.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, sometimes you just sounds like a really rude person, and people are like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah, if somebody is kind of like starting to listen in the middle of a story, they might have missed all the context, which shows that whatever's happening was not your actual opinion. It's not, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought of this the other day that skateboarders and comedians have one thing in common, is that we have to get hurt to get practice. You know, we have to risk getting hurt all the time. Skateboarders, they hurt their knees, and we hurt our souls.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I think also always trying to work. So, domestic violence is not funny subject, but living in Iceland, and if you would say you living with the weather, it is kind of being an abusive relationship. It's like you never know what's going to happen. You never know what will go. And I've been trying to do it because I think it's like a funny thing, you know, because you look outside like,
yeah,
it's a beautiful day, and then you go out 5 minutes later and it's just hail raining, and you just like,
psych.
You're like, okay,
tricking you into thinking it's nice.
And it always wait. The sun is up. You drive to the swimming pool. You take off your clothes. Now you're only wearing boxers. You walk outside. Then the sun goes away and the wind and starts to snow. It's like really abusive. So it gives you hope and it takes her away. And I've been for a couple of days now trying to figure out how to do it funny. And sometimes I believe there is something there, but sometimes it can take so long time to get. This will probably just end up of being maybe 40-second bit, you know.
Yeah.
But sometimes it can take many weeks to actually figure it out.
And it's more difficult to figure out if you have a controversial topic within it, like domestic violence or something. Then that's a lot more tricky to figure out the perfect way to say it.
Yeah, without sounding like just an asshole.
Yeah, without sounding like you don't think domestic violence is serious or something
exactly.
like that.
Yeah.
Another thing that's like domestic violence, that's having kids, because they are just abusive towards you all the time, and you just have to put up with it.
Yeah, no respect.
No respect.
Yeah, like, make me dinner, and what are you gonna do? Make it yourself? No, it's 2 years old. You know, you don't want it to burn their hands or anything, so they can't do it.
No.
So now you're forced to do it.
And if they call you a poop head, there's nothing you can do about it.
No, just smile.
Yeah, they could call you a poop head every day.
Just
for 18 years, and there's nothing you could do about it.
No, just keep on smiling. Don't show them that they're hurting you.
Yeah,
you know, it's just like it's like bullying. Like as long as you don't show them that you're hurt, they eventually just give up. You know?
Everybody's kids are trying to bully them. That's my opinion. I don't have kids. I don't know anything about kids, but it's probably why I don't have kids, because I think kids just want to bully me. I don't want to be bullied.
Yeah. You see, this is why I waited so long to have my kids, you know, because, you know, I don't want to grow up and then they grow up and then they hate me. Now they're going to grow up and I will be dead. So I can die before they get that, you know, when they're 25, you look, oh, Dad, you never were there for me. Well, I will be dead.
You're even less there. They're going to be happy. He was actually here.
Yeah.
At least he was alive.
Yeah. So... yeah, kids. Like,
when did you start having kids? You've got 2 kids.
5 years ago. Oh, well, technically, I've been practicing for it for over 25 years now. But
bragging.
Yeah, it was mostly self-practicing for the first couple of years.
It's important.
You know, my first, 5.5 years since he.
How old were you?
I was when he got born. I was 38.
Okay, all right. I'm 33. I don't have any kids.
Yeah, you could do the same trick as me.
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic trick.
Yeah.
I think it sounds to me like you kind of like hacked life.
Yeah, it was like I will only be around when they really need me.
Yeah,
but when they don't need me and starts to get the real thought about me, you know, then I'll be gone. just there when you need me, and then I will make you need me as soon as you don't.
But you seem like a very healthy guy. You're into sports, and I know you played basketball.
Yeah.
And you go to the gym now, famously, like you like talking about on stage.
Yeah.
And do you? Is health important to you? Do you want to live long, or what?
I just want to live healthy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like my goal is not to break the world record and be 128, but I can't even speak and I can't stand up myself. It's like I don't want that. I just want to be as healthy as I can and live a healthy life, because you've seen these people that the drugs are just kind of keeping them alive. They're not living anymore.
No,
they can't do anything. They can't cook. They can't. They just lay and watch some TV program for maybe extra 9 years.
It's not even living, really.
No, you're just there. Mm-hmm. The only thing you can do is forget everything.
You're alive, but you're not living.
Yeah, and I don't want that, because I've seen like people that are in that age, in that stage, when they're like 70, and then I've seen people that when they're in 70s, they're still going, playing golf, living their life because they took care of their health. But the other people, I don't want that. So I think I will. And also it's a little bit, I mean, you always feel a little bit better when you're working out, and it's good for depression and stuff. And if you just keep on, just make it a routine, it's easier to, for me, it's easier to deal with everything else in life. You get a little bit of adrenaline shot, and you kind of feel good about yourself, and
So is it more about that for you instead of health? It's not that you want to stay healthy for longer. It's more that it makes you feel better and it gives you more energy or something like that.
Yeah, because I mean, of course, I don't want to become like completely overweight and have to take like 20 pills every day to lower my blood sugar and heighten it up, and my body is completely just like a garbage can at that point. I mean, I want to be able to live healthy life. If I want to go traveling and walk around, and you got to be able to do all that. But it is just not really important to me to have a six pack and like look really, really good. It's just as long as I feel good and I know I got another 40 years, then I think I'm good.
What about diet? Do you try to? Do you spend any time and effort onto having a healthier diet than the average person, or what do you think about diet?
No, I fast a lot. I usually don't eat for like 16, sometimes 24 hours. I try to stay away from carbs. If I'm gonna have some carbs, it's gonna be complex carbs. But then, of course, sometimes I just I think I have a good diet like 20% of the time.
Okay.
And then,
When did you start fasting?
That's probably like 7-8 years ago.
Yeah.
I've always done it. It's like I've never been that guy that wakes up and need a breakfast.
No, me neither.
It's just usually when I was playing basketball in Sweden, I just woke up, went on practice. I don't think I never ate until like 2:00, and then maybe I had a practice and a jog before that. So I never. Usually I just eat once or twice, maybe.
24 hours. I've never been able to do that. I can fast easily for 16, 18 hours. But at that point, it's just like it overwhelms me. I feel completely fine until it suddenly just overwhelms me. And I've wanted to try fasting for 24 hours many times, and I always end up backing out of it.
Yeah.
Is it something you do regularly?
Yeah, I try to do it at least once a week.
Yeah. So one day a week you don't eat anything.
Yeah.
Wow. When was the last time?
I did it when the last thing I ate on that Monday was when we were in the Faroe Islands at waiting for it to take off, and then I didn't eat anything until 12 o'clock on Tuesday.
Wow.
But it is easier to do it if you trick yourself a little bit. It is easier to that when you have reached 12 hours, and that should be a bad time. So you are asleep also, so that helps you, and then you reach maybe 20 hours, 21 hour, and then just drink a lot of water and coffee for 3 hours, and you will get it.
I have to stay really busy through it. Like I think I would have to plan my days so that I am the most busy around the time when the hunger you would be coming, you know?
Yeah.
So if but
do you become extremely like hungry, or because when I have fasted too long, like my blood sugar drops and I get furiously angry about everything. It's like, it doesn't matter what it is. I could get like really, really angry about it. So that's like the only, people have told me like, oh Jesus, I was like,
angry.
Yeah,
hanger.
Yeah, hanger. Are you fasting now? I was like, yeah. They're like, coming up to 20 hours. I'm like, yeah. They're like, okay, I'll talk to you in 5 hours. So that's my only thing. I never get this like feeling that I need to eat. I just get the feeling I need energy. It's like there's no glucose in my blood whatsoever.
After about 16 hours, what happens to me is that I start feeling like this urgency, then I'll drive faster on my way home, for example, and I'll sit down and I'll just feel like I need to do things fast.
Okay.
It's called fasting. It's not a joke. It's just literally how I feel. I want to be fasting, and so I get very impatient. I get really impatient.
Yeah, me too.
And if I think about food, then I just like get really impatient, and I just want it over with, and I just eat something.
Yeah. I remember when I was starting to fast, it was so maybe after like 16, 17 hours, like the first couple of times I did it, I had this feeling like I was forgetting something. And it was just my body going like, hey, we haven't eaten. You know? Like
that's what you forgot.
Yeah, but I had that urge to like fix something. It was like, what did I forget? It's like, did I leave my keys somewhere? And it's like, and then I just figured out after a while, like your body is just so used to eating that is like something is missing.
Yeah,
you're not forgetting anything. It's just, but that took couple of weeks, month to get past. But I still get really angry when, like, especially if it's been a hard day. If I have a good day, I could probably fast for, I don't know, like 36 hours or something. If I would have like, but I would need to be at a beach, no distraction. I can just do whatever I want and go as I please. Then I could do it, but like,
after fasting for 16 hours, and usually that means that around 4 in the afternoon or something like that, I finish work at that time. So if I fast the whole day, then it means that I start to feel this urgency when I finish work. I want to get home fast, and if I have any plans with anybody to do anything, then I don't have any patience for anything. Like if I want to meet somebody, let's say I want to meet somebody at 4:30, and I'm sitting at the restaurant or the cafe or something at 4:30, and the other person's 5 minutes late, then I'm like, I have no patience, absolutely, and I feel like they are the rudest person in the world. I guess it's hanger. At that point, it's hanger. I'm getting angry, annoyed at somebody. It's getting into hanger territory.
Yeah, I think gradually your body start working through it. I guess it hasn't happened to me yet, and I've been doing it for a couple of years now. But I've read in book that this is really common, and people like as soon as your blood sugar drops, you kind of get irritated and angry. So maybe that's why there's so much like violence in the world.
Yeah,
people are just really fucking hungry,
especially in the places where people are hungry.
Yeah. Oh, down in Africa must be fighting all the time.
Yeah. At Faroe Islands, people are never hungry there.
No. Everybody was just
nobody's fighting.
Jolly, and everybody had a smile from ear to ear.
Yeah. And speaking of the Faroe Islands, I have brought you twice to the Faroe Islands to do some comedy shows there. Mm-hmm. The first trip we did over there was we were a few comedians that went there together the first time in what was it, May 2021.
Yeah,
sounds about right.
Yeah,
I think yeah. And that was the first time you came to the Faroes.
Yep.
So so we went there to the Faroes for the first time, and you're just in another country for the first time, in this country for the first time, and then you're also doing comedy shows in this country for the first time. Mm-hmm. So what did you do you remember the first days in the Faroe Islands where you felt like there? And for context, this was 2021, and COVID was just kind of like ending, and tourism had not recuperated at that point.
No.
And at that point, people had been used to bars and restaurants being closed for 2 years. That had been the case a lot of the time. So the going to restaurants and bars hadn't really come back to the culture in some kind of way.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about what it was like for you to get to the Faroe Islands for the first time.
Yeah, like you said, I think the Faroe Islands was actually the first one beside Greenland to kind of lift every ban like completely. So you didn't need any mask or anything. I think we only needed that certification that you had got vaccinated.
Yeah.
And we still had some rules in Iceland. So going there, it felt more free, like more common. But I don't know. Like when I came back now, I had the same feeling. It's like it is kind of like going to Iceland. It's just like, to me, it's like going to the Faroes. It's kind of like going to the Westfjordur.
Mm-hmm. To like a remote part of Iceland.
Yeah, which it looks kind of like that.
Yeah, it's like the remotest part of Iceland.
Yeah, but
you can look at it like that.
Yeah, it is like if you would move Akureyri to Ísafjörður, that would be the Faroe Islands for me. Mm-hmm. But I liked it. It was a little bit slower. Like in Reykjavik, sometimes you can feel this rush. There's like this busyness, when in the Faroes it's like, you never saw more than 3 people walk across the street at the same time. But in Reykjavik, it's like always a lot of people. Also, I think, I don't know, maybe the Faroese people are more patient than Icelanders, because Icelanders, like they get an idea and we need to do it now. It's like, I have this great idea. Let's do it now. Let's build the castle. You're like, should we think about it? No. Yeah. Let's just do it. When there's no planning ahead.
I can tell you that when I moved to Iceland, I was very surprised by the queuing culture here, because I had people cut in front of me a few times over. Yeah. So one time in Bonus, I was standing in the queue there, and apparently some person thought that I was leaving too much space to the person in front of me. So they thought, this is an idiot. He doesn't know how to queue. I'm just going to get in front of him.
Yeah.
And then another time was downtown for one of the food trucks.
Yeah.
And, a few times downtown when people are a little bit drunk, I find that especially younger women will just kind of like get in, and they know that he's not going to do anything.
Oh, yeah.
So there's no respect for the queue, especially when people are drunk.
No.
In the Faroe Islands, there's very much a respect for the queue.
I don't think we know exactly how to stand in the queue. It's never like one queue.
No.
It's always like 2 people in the front, then 5 people in a group, and then 1 person, then 2 people behind him. It's just like, it's like somebody's playing dominoes.
Yeah, and you can always see people just walking into, like if they see a friend, they just walk into the friend group.
I remember when I was younger, and like at lunch at school, we used to go to this one place, Hlöllabadur, and it's not where it used to be, but it was in this small kind of cubicle thing, and everybody at school went there. Like on a Friday, we always went, and it was just like a mayhem. It kind of looked like, I think, like Wall Street in New York. It's just like people with their hands up, like yelling and yelling, and I remember, like, I found out there's like I could just walk in there, and somebody goes like, "Lean about there." And I was like, "Yep, that was me." Just take it, and you could leave. It's like I didn't pay for lunch for like 2 years, not on Fridays. And it never got up. And that's just because Icelandic people could not stand in a queue.
I've been on the opposite side of that. I've been at Hlöllabadur downtown here, waiting for my sandwich for like half an hour. And I'm asking, well, where is it? And oh, well, we already gave it to you. No. So somebody else has just come and done what you were doing.
Oh, wow.
So,
it's good. It's good. It's probably someone that I went to school with.
So I think probably everybody only pays for Hlöllabadur once, and then they learn about this, and then they never pay again. They just go and take it.
You never did that?
My heart's too pure for that.
You never stole anything?
I had a... Sorry, when I was 11 and 12, I had a friend who he told me that he had realized... Sorry, there's something in my throat. Sorry, everybody. I don't have water. I should have brought Kilk.
Yeah. I think this is the only place that actually allowed that.
But I had a friend, and he told me this like as if he had made a discovery.
Yeah.
That you can go into stores, and if you just take a piece of candy without anybody seeing it, then you can just walk out.
Oh, okay. He thought he was the first person to realize this.
And so I went with him, and he showed me. So he just went over to the candies, and he just kind of like stood there for a second, like he was thinking about what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
And then nobody was watching, and then he just took a Kit Kat or something, put it in his sleeve, and then we just pretended like we didn't want anything, and then we walked out.
Okay.
And so after that, it was a couple times that me and him went in and we just took some candy and we left.
At what time did your friend realize that he did not invent this? When was the first time he saw a movie about pirates?
Yeah, he's a pirate.
Hey, they are doing it.
I thought it was the first. See, this is how innocent Faroese people are.
Yeah.
They didn't know that people have been stealing
for hundreds of years.
Like I came up with it. I wonder if he knows. Maybe he still thinks.
Yeah.
Maybe he's still taking candy bars and thinking nobody knows what he's doing.
You never did the pizza trick.
The pizza trick.
Yeah.
What's a pizza trick?
So if it would probably be hard to do it now. But if you order one pizza, we were doing this when we were younger. Like you do it with your friend, and he's like on the 7th floor of a apartment building, and you order like one pizza to you, and then you call from another number, and you call maybe 3 pizza for a little bit down the road. Just make up, just find out who lives there. And when they ring the doorbell, the Domino's guy, and he's coming up with your pizza, you go down to his car because they usually never lock them. They usually just give them, and you just take the other 3, and then you go up, and now you have 4 instead of 1.
My mind was just blown.
Yeah. I figured that out when I was like 15.
I'm never going to pay for Hlöllabadur sandwiches or pizzas again.
No. Well, you always have to order one. But, but if 4 guys, you all split one and then you all get your own pizza.
Wow.
Yeah.
The magic of piracy.
How do you think we survived so long in Iceland?
Well,
just scamming each other.
There's not much here. You had to take it from somewhere.
Yeah.
But we were talking about the Faroe Islands, and you noticed that people seem to be more patient. I think you said.
Yeah, just more relaxed. It was, kind of like Yeah, kind of like Denmark and Sweden. They all kind of like. Have you ever seen a guy on a bicycle in Iceland that is just going on a normal speed? Like everybody ride their bikes in Denmark. You never see people like on these racer bikes in Denmark. Just people just going their way, you know. Maybe doing 25.
I think it might have something to do with the weather being actually enjoyable. If you're outside in Iceland, you want to get to wherever you're going as fast as possible.
Yeah, that's
most
true.
of the time.
Maybe that's why we talk so fast. So it's like you just got to go in. It's like we'll just go back, and then you just go inside. I think that's how tourists look at us when we are speaking Icelandic to each other. I always hear those. It sounds like you guys speaks really fast. And maybe it is because it's always really bad weather, and when you meet your friend and you want to say goodbye,
you don't want to be in a conversation for very long.
No, you got to speed it up.
And you're never going to bump into your friend in your own house, or
No, well, unless you're doing the pizza trick. Johnny's here. Go downstairs.
Was there anything else you noticed in going to the Faroes? What else struck you about the May trip in the Faroes? I know. We all noticed that it seemed very dead in many ways. The bars weren't open.
Yeah, the first time. I mean, the bar was just closed on a Monday and a Tuesday.
Yeah,
that was so odd to us. We're just like, what?
Yeah, probably Sundays, Mondays, and Tuesdays they were all closed. All the bars. And
some of the restaurants kind of just open up between 11 and 1 and then close down again, and then open up again like at 6. I thought that was also really weird. But that means that people actually plan things. In Iceland, you gotta have it open because you have no idea when Johnny is gonna go for his lunch. It could be at 12 or 4.
Yeah.
So you have to be open all the time.
So we were tourists in a place that was not adapted for tourists at all at that point.
No.
And I remember those first days where we were just kind of confronted by the fact that nothing was ready for us. Nobody was there there was nothing to do really.
Yeah.
We try to you get there and you get a little bit excited to go to a bar, but it was a Monday, I think, right?
Yeah.
So there's not much to do Monday, Tuesday, and then eventually the Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays was different, but
yeah.
But do you remember the first show? Like, do you have a memory of the first show we did in the Faroes? It was a Thursday night. Do you have any memory of that show?
Yeah. I remember. I was a little bit nervous of what type of material would work and if any of my material would actually work. But it felt really like everybody that was there, that they were there for comedy, and everybody seems to have an open mind, and everybody was like, all right, we don't have this. This is something that is new to me. I really want to embrace this and go and see it. Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, nobody was unpolite, nobody was too drunk. People were not talking like you have sometimes over here. And I just remember I was first on stage after you did, I think, like 15 minutes or something. And I just remember like going off stage feeling, I felt pretty good. And I knew that I was like, all right, if I managed to do that, I mean, the rest of the guys are gonna have a great time. And then on Friday, there was also the culture night. Yeah, the culture night. You could feel that there was something in the air. Mm-hmm. You could feel that people were really open and they
wanted to go out and have fun. That's like the culture night in the Faroes. People want to go out and go see a show or do something fun.
Yeah, so you could definitely feel that, and that was an amazing show. I remember that.
Yeah, I think we've sold about 45 tickets to the Thursday show, and then about 55 tickets to Friday show, and then about 65 tickets to Saturday show. I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And the Thursday show was the first time I ever hosted anything. I was a complete amateur. I had recently started open mics, And after I started doing open mics, there was always comedians talking to me about how much they wanted to go to the Faroes. And that's how we ended up doing this trip. And I ended up being the host of the show. I was super nervous about that. And I probably drank way too much. At the end of the show, I think I was pretty drunk. I probably could, everybody could probably tell I was really fucking drunk by the time we were closing the show.
Yeah, well.
Whatever. I just did what I had to do, what I felt I had to do.
Yeah.
But I mean, so far so good. We're still doing it.
Yeah, I mean, we've sold a lot more tickets now, and it seems to it went more smoother, and and people seems to, I mean, because I was talking to people after the Saturday show that told me that it's like that they were on the first show as well. So we had like a lot of seems to
there's a few people that have been like to all of the show. I saw a couple of people who've been, because we've done 3 of these trips. There's a few people who have seen it on each one of these trips.
Yeah, that's great.
So people are paying and they want to come back.
Yeah, which means that we need to write more jokes.
Yeah, we can't do the same stuff for a third time. At least not me. So you came with me for the second time now recently. Here in what month is this? It's February.
February. Yeah.
And did you notice anything different about? What did you notice this time around?
I don't know. It kind of felt. I don't know. I think it was maybe a little bit more alive. There were more people out, like doing on the weekends. So, and also this time we were actually staying like kind of downtown. So it was a little bit different. Also, we were there during the winter, even though it didn't look like winter.
No, it was like 7-8 degrees Celsius.
Yeah, and there was like no ice or snow or anything.
No, it's kind of springy.
Yeah. So that was cool. And also we were like living in this house that is Airbnb apartment. And I think it's like the first time we actually turned on the TV. We were watching like Faroese program. It was not many minutes, but we did. And we had our own car. It felt more like I'd been there like 1,000 times. It was like you knew where everything was. Didn't matter how drunk you were when you got home. It was like, oh, I know where I can get pizza, and you could just walk down there and get it. Because it was kind of weird because, like, I walked in and I took a look at the menu, and the guy said like, I got number 3 and number 11 ready. Which one do you want? I was like, I was more thinking 3 or 11. All right, give me 3 then.
Yeah, there's a pizza place in downtown Tórshavn where
they have like 12 pizza on the menu.
Yeah, in the weekends they just make random pizzas, and you walk in and they tell you what pizzas you can have like right now because it's ready. Yeah, and if you insist on picking another one, they'll make it, but it'll take 10 minutes or something. But tell me, we had a show on Friday in a small village, Miðvágur. Probably the first stand-up comedy show ever in that village.
Well,
what did you feel? What do you remember from that show? What did you think about that show?
It was a lot of fun. The room that we were in kind of reminded me of, I don't know. It is like I felt like it was at somebody's home, but he haven't moved in yet. He only got like a couple of furnitures, a couple of boxes in the corner. So it didn't really feel like that until they kind of turned off the lights and we got the spotlight and we start the show. Then it felt more like a coffee house kind of vibe thing. And I could be honest, I thought nobody was gonna get there, be there. But what, we had like 25, 30 people.
Yeah, but 30 people in there. I think. Yeah.
And we even had the radio host that we actually had been interviewed a couple of hours before. They actually drove all the way up there to see it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was fun, and that was like a little tester night and.
Yeah, I think it was a good idea for many reasons. I think it was a little bit of practice for the bigger show the next day.
Yeah.
So that was good.
Yeah. But everybody that came there, seems to have had a lot of fun.
Do you, what do you remember? What you felt about the crowd? Did you remember, when you were going through your set? Do you remember anything about how you felt about that?
This time around, I wasn't that nervous about my material because I knew what had worked before, and this time around, I was doing other jokes, but something that I've been doing for 2 years, so I knew what would work and what would not. It was just really depends on my delivery and like the atmosphere in the room. I noticed that, which I do a lot doing my set, is like I engage with the audience and I ask them questions. And I know sometimes, usually when a comic asks a question, it's just a rhetorical question. It's like you're not supposed to answer it. But I actually want answers for my question because I know it brings the attention towards me. So I noticed they were a little bit shy to tell me. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that was kind of the only thing. But it felt cozy. It felt more. It kind of reminded me of the like a slow night on at the Secret Cellar. It's like it was not many people, but everybody was having a good time. Everybody was laughing and like yeah, I was testing more stuff than I would usually do for a show that is paid.
Yeah, and we had an intermission in the middle of the show. Nobody left. Everybody was there.
Yeah.
And they weren't laughing very loudly. And but they were all smiling the whole time.
Yeah.
Like I actually noticed that they weren't laughing loudly. There was laughter, and they were smiling the whole time. So I think there was like the room was kind of like the section of the crowd was not super dark, and I think people get more self-conscious. They don't laugh as much. And also, I think Faroese people in a crowd, they want to be very polite. So the good thing about that is that there's no hecklers. There's nobody talking loudly to each other or anything like that.
No.
But the other side of that coin is that you might not get so much of a reaction.
Yeah.
People don't laugh as freely. They kind of try and keep it more inside. But to combat that, you want the area where the crowd is to be darker and the ceiling to be lower and lots of different things. But
yeah, you kind of. I mean, the only thing you need for a good comedy scene is like it can't be too wide of a room. It needs to be kind of narrow. You have to be elevated a little bit.
Yeah,
and where the audience are is dark, and where you are is well lit up. I think, and a low ceiling. I think. That's the only thing you need.
And that room has a super high ceiling. There's no stage, so we were just on the same level as the people. Mm-hmm. And the lighting wasn't made for having shows like this, but it was I think everybody had fun.
Yeah.
And then the day after that was the Saturday show in Reinsaruye, which is a bigger venue, a lot more seats. How did you feel going into that show? Do you remember like walking into that place, how you felt?
Yeah, I mean, I've been there before, so I mean, we have done 3 shows there before, so I knew that we could go up and kind of get a privacy and stuff. It was kind of just the way I remembered it. I remember it is a big stage for stand-up comedy, and I don't move that much doing my set. I'm not like Thor that fucking uses the whole stage. So that was the only thing that I remember. I looked at the stage. I was like, "Whoa, this is a big stage." But I saw all the people. It was completely packed downstairs, and there was starting to be people upstairs, and I really felt like I knew it was gonna be a good show.
Yeah, me too.
I knew, like, as soon as you went on stage, I could just see the energy. I could see the energy with everybody, and I could see that everybody like, okay, like now we're gonna hit a home run.
Yeah, I could feel it. Like I wasn't very nervous. We had done basically the same show the night before, and it went fine. And so it's just kind of like, let's do the same thing again. Yeah, and it may be even more better, a little more polished. I knew a couple of things that I wanted to change in my material, but and then I just walked up and I just start talking, and immediately I can feel that the crowd is engaged. Yeah, and immediately I can feel that they're there to have a good time, and I could feel that getting really good reactions to anything that I've done, any improvisation or any question I asked into the crowd. It was just a really great interaction. So immediately I just felt good and relaxed. Yeah. I felt like, it just makes you, like if you go up on stage and you feel like people just accept you immediately, and they're all there to just enjoy being there, then you, like for me at least, I get so much more relaxed.
Yeah. And also I think this time around maybe you were more relaxed because you knew that you didn't have to come back on stage.
Yeah, also that.
This is your time. That's the only thing. You just have to nail this one time, and then you can just go off.
Yeah. So we did the first time I was a more traditional host where I went up in between all the comics, but this time I was the host in the sense that I open up the show and I give some context, and I come back on in the middle of after the intermission and in the end. But so when you're hosting in a traditional way, you are working the whole time. Like your mind is like listening to what's going on because you need to be aware of everything that's going on. Yeah. So you're not done until you start when the show starts, and you're not done until the whole show is done. And that's exhausting mentally.
Oh yeah. That can be really exhausting, and if you have a hard night, sometimes you just feel it's ice cold outside, or it's snowing or something, and people are there, but they're not really there. Because what people maybe don't understand that are watching this, that it really depends on where you're in the lineup and who you're after. How well your set could go. Because if somebody completely kills before you and you have the same strength in your material, you kind of ride on that wave, and everybody is already start laughing, and they're more comfortable laughing. The longer they laugh, the more comfortable they get. So start a show with a silent room, and it's just completely cold audience. Yeah. And you have to somehow make them laugh, and if you don't have them laughing in 2-3 minutes after you start the show, you're gonna have a hard opening, So just doing that, because if you kind of fuck up the opening, you're gonna have a hard time in between, and it's always gonna be harder and harder to get the likable towards the people. So like starting a show is really, really difficult. Coming after a comic that if you do the opening well, then it should kind of just run smoothly. So being a host is and also if somebody bombs on stage, you have to fix it. So now it's your responsibility to go up if somebody. I hate it. It's okay when people tell a joke and it doesn't really land, but you could tell, it's a joke. It's just maybe not that clever or wrongly said. But I hate when people sometimes get like politically incorrect or just rude, and they get the audience to actually like go back, and they like that's the thing that I hate, because now I need to somehow make fun of that and get everybody to like me again, because now everybody's sitting with their hands crossed. Those things are the hardest to kind of recover from.
Yeah, and that would mostly happen on an open mic where you have no idea what's going on and there's no curation. So sometimes in open mics, the comedians might wanna joke about politically non-correct things. You know, there's a lot of comedians who kind of want to find some way to make fun of something politically incorrect, kind of like Louis C.K. would do, or some other famous comedians. But a lot of the time, it just does not work, and the only thing it does is piss off the audience, who now they think that you're a racist or an asshole or a misogynist or something, and the next person has to go up on stage with a room of pissed off people, and that's kind of like trying to do stand up at a funeral.
Yeah,
nobody they're not in the mood to want to find stuff funny anymore.
No,
so you got to turn that around.
Yeah, you need to turn that around. And like you said, sometimes I think people come with like the idea that we were talking about in the beginning of the show. That I have this joke. I've never told it on stage because I know the way I do it now is not gonna work. Mm-hmm. So I have to find the way to word it, and then I can actually do it. I think some people try their jokes a little bit too soon. Mm-hmm. Because I've seen people try this kind of material and it was not thought out or anything, and now, all of a sudden you're like, oh Jesus, don't want to marry with this guy. So you have to kind of clean up whatever happened. Yeah. But if you have a good strong opening and you get everybody to laugh, then it's a lot easier. Because you already have that likability effect on people. So in that case, it's really good to have a host that have already established likability, and he can always jump on like, hey, all right, whoa, all right, and then you just make a little bit of joke, or usually like, sometimes when this happens, I kind of join them. I go like, hey guys, don't worry, I'm with you. Mm-hmm. I'm scared too, or something. It's like you make yourself a part of them, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, okay. This guy is back. Okay, then let's see what he brings back. Mm-hmm.
And in the shows in the Faroes, one thing that struck me is I realized this on the Friday show, the first show we did, like that. It seemed people were going kind of dirty, kind of sexual with the material. Yeah. Lovisa went on after me. So she was the first one I brought up after introducing the show, and she went pretty heavy on the blowjobs and those kinds of jokes, and the other comedians also, and that, like, I can tell you for a fact that people in the Faroe Islands are not used to hearing dick jokes on stage, so that felt like. It felt like we were sinning, but not that I care about that. But it made me a little bit on edge because I was worried about how the crowd would react to it. Yeah, but that was mostly my insecurity, and then we didn't have any problems about it.
No, I mean, I think, Lovisa went like really. It was a lot of sex and having sex and blowjobs and all those things, and shave her asshole and stuff. Because I remember because usually when I'm just with my friends, I curse a lot. I say all kinds of things that you shouldn't say, like inappropriate things. But like I told after the Saturday show, like I said, like it's weird that I'm probably the most inappropriate person in this group, but on stage I'm probably the cleanest.
Yeah.
It's like,
you do. Your material is pretty clean.
Yeah, I'm never talking about having sex or shoving my dick somewhere or whatever. I have a couple of jokes. I mean the dirty talk but that's not really dirty joke in a way.
No, it's not vulgar.
No, and. Well, yeah, it's like, I have a couple of those, but I just don't. I don't think I need to. I don't need to shock you with every line that I say. I just want to be able to get your attention and what I'm talking about is something that you will relate to.
Yeah, after these shows were in the Faroes and Friday and that Saturday, I became like, because I noticed it so much because it made me uncomfortable. I was worried that it would put people off.
Yeah.
It didn't in the end. But then afterwards, I've been more conscious. I've like unconsciously, I started paying attention to how dirty are some people and how clean are people. So on the Thursday show at Malmenning, it was kind of in the back of my mind, and I just realized that like almost everybody was just very dirty.
Yeah,
almost everybody was talking about fucking and shitting and eating whatever.
Yeah. Very much.
And it kind of just struck me that, most of the comics here, I think, are kind of like very shocking comics.
Yeah. Because I think when you are nervous and that room, Malmenning, is a really hard room to perform in, especially comedy. I think because it's easy to get a reaction from people to shock them. They might be laughing, but maybe they didn't really found it funny. It just shocked them. Like it's like more as a nervous laughter. Like, okay. So if you that's one way to get a easy laughter. But then on the other hand, it's like it's not enough to just go up and say fuck, shit, dick. You have to say something that's funny. It's not that easy as I may be saying it is. That I think a lot of people just turn to that. If they're nervous, they really, they're nervous and they don't believe in their material. Especially you saw the crowd. It was like there were two people. There were just these two ladies. They were just talking, and she was showing her pictures on her phone. I was like, just go downstairs if you're not gonna be. Why did you sit next to the stage just to talk to your friend? Mm-hmm. I felt like I was at the hot tub in Laugardalur. Just two old people just talking the whole fucking time. Yeah. And there was people that turned their back to the stage. There was another woman that was on the phone.
There was a group of French people sitting upstairs. There were like 7 people or something, talking really loudly in French. Yep. And Thorald tried to address them, tried talking to them. He got no reaction. And then
they didn't care.
They probably didn't understand English.
No,
they had no idea what was going on. So.
No, and that's the thing. It's because sometimes I have had a lady at Dubliner. She was not on the first table next to. It was the second first, by herself, just sitting there, and I think she was from Italy or something. And I noticed that half through the show she was not. She didn't laugh at anything. I never got her even to smile. And in the after half an hour, I kind of asked her are you traveling alone? Are you not having fun? I was I haven't seen you smile once. And she just looked at me and said, no, prata English. I was like, okay, then you're on the wrong show, honey.
What is she doing?
That's pretty much what stand-up comedy is. It is in English, and we're just talking.
So she didn't understand anything that was being said. She obviously just liked watching us. She must have thought we were beautiful or something. What?
Gotta be something, but I just remember.
Imagine, what do you think she thought was going on?
I don't know.
These people are just talking English. I'm just going to sit here and watch them.
Yeah, maybe she was just hoping that somebody would be speaking Italian or Spanish or something in the end or something. I don't know. I just thought it was so funny. And then she just kept on sitting. I think she left, but she was in there for 15 minutes more. Because I remember I brought at least 3 more comics. And then she stood up and left when I got up.
So she was watching people speak gibberish for a lot longer than...
Yeah, and there's no theatrical thing.
No.
It's not like she was watching a play.
No, there's no magicians.
Yeah, no, there's nothing going on beside a guy with a microphone.
With a microphone going ooh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, because you could watch a movie in other language without subtitles. You would kind of, know what's happening. Oh, he's chasing him. He's doing something. That is boring. Imagine if you're just watching news.
Yeah.
just a news anchor talking about on a language that you have no idea. For 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Who would do that?
Well, this Italian lady.
Yeah, I guess.
Maybe she's just a next level comedian. She could understand everything, but she just wanted you to believe that she was.
Oh yeah, that's a really good prank on me, I guess.
Yeah, she got you.
Yeah,
she's
she
probably
got me.
watching this right now, laughing at how dumb you are.
She's like, I got you.
Yeah. She's gonna show up again, and then she's gonna go on stage, and you're gonna be blown. Like she's gonna be the best comedian you ever saw.
Yeah, hopefully, because I mean that. As crazy that is, that's less crazy than just sitting and
what she
watching.
did. Yeah. One thing that I wonder about you coming with me to the forest. Now you've done it twice.
Yeah.
And it's not something
Never
you
again.
make a lot. You don't make a lot of money from it. It's not a business venture.
No.
Why did you want to do it again?
I mean, first of all, I mean, hanging with you guys is just always fun. So, I mean, that's one part of it. And also like traveling and I think one of the what have advanced me now since we started with the Secret Cellar is that at the Secret Cellar we had it so good. We had packed house, never the same audience. Always a different group of tourists that got their Northern Lights canceled. Like we always had a packed room and like everything was perfect. Now you need to learn how to work with a different room and like going from Dublin to the big stage on Gaukurinn and then go to Loft where you all of a sudden have like audience almost like surrounding you. Now I can't like when I do Loft, I move around much more than I do Gaukurinn or Dublin because I have people over here and I try to engage them. I don't have them all there. And also at Loft, it's like it's a different audience. Maybe not everybody came there, so you have to really. And now Mál og Menning. So I think you learn the more room you do, the better you become to read the room. And how to engage with it. So that's one part, is to become a better comic. And then I just found out that, I just realized that I will never be famous in this big country of Iceland. So let's try to be famous in a smaller country.
We might be on the way there.
Yeah.
We were on the radio.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So.
Yeah, and I had two people, while we were queuing, to go to this to the pizza place, I had these people like telling me my jokes. There were some two guys that were at the show, and they were telling me kind of my jokes.
Do you remember what it was that they said?
They were talking about that their friend is this masculine guy that is like that guy. They were like referencing that joke, and then they just kept on telling me what I said next. And I just remember just telling them like, okay, yeah, I know, I was there. I kind of told you.
And then you said, and then you said,
yeah.
it was like that, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it was like, and then you had and then you were talking about the old guys in the show. I was like, yeah, dude, it's like, I told you this about 2 hours ago. So, but I think they were just really drunk and probably the next day they don't remember anything.
Yeah. So what would you like to go again? You're honest.
Yeah. I think they said 150 tickets at Rensselaer. I know we can do that, and I know that we could do 2 shows and 150 and 150. I think we could do 2 sold-out shows there.
Yeah. Okay. So you're thinking like, let's grow this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, because this time, we sold 70 something in pre-sale tickets, and at the same time, because I ran into Mike, the guy that we knew that I met the first time. Mm-hmm. I think the famous gay person in Ferry.
Yeah, the only gay in the village.
The
only gay in the village.
Yeah. He told me that like he didn't come to the show because he had this huge Eurovision party home party, and he told me like there was like a lot of them.
Yeah.
So a lot of people decided to watch Eurovision instead of going to our show. So if that wouldn't have been happening that same night, we have sold more tickets because he told me like, oh, me and my friends would have come, but this was on. Yeah. And then these concerts that I think...
Yeah, the Mario is one of the biggest musicians in the Faroe Islands was having these huge concerts. And there was like 800 people per show or something.
Wow, yeah.
And with the symphony orchestra of the Faroe Islands, which is never going to happen again. So it's like once in a lifetime opportunity to see that. Yeah. So there's thousands of people that went to that. And at the same time that the Danish Eurovision competition was going on, and there was a Faroese guy competing, and he ended up winning.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, I mean,
and every time we put on these shows, we're competing with some other events.
Yeah.
I don't know if we were just super unlucky, but you know, you're always going to have some competing events that people are going to want to go to instead, or maybe not so. But I agree with you that we could that this is growing, and we're learning every time. I'm learning, and everybody else is learning, and we're just getting better and better at doing this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and maybe we could also go look at some other venues or something. Cause I like 150 people in Resaria. I know you and Herikar believe it, but I don't believe it personally.
I mean, it was. Do you have the final number?
No, I sent an email asking, so I'll probably know in a couple of years.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good. No, because upstairs I count 40. I count 40 people just upstairs. And downstairs, I was up to at least 80, 85, I think. Okay. But, of course, I couldn't... It was more like okay, that's 10, 10, 10. So...
It's a rough estimate.
Yeah, so maybe 120. And yes, I would... And it looked packed. It didn't look like you could fit any more people.
It didn't look like you could fit any more people. And I asked the guy at the door selling the tickets. Yeah. I asked him if because he came over to me and he just said that I heard you sold a lot more tickets in advance to them before. And I said yeah. And I asked him, so have you sold any tickets by the door? And he said very few. So according to him, he hadn't sold many tickets at the door. But then also during the show, there were still people coming in. Like halfway through the show, there was still a couple of people just buying tickets and coming in. Yeah. People who were just late, but we will know, and that's a work in progress. We should maybe sit down and plan, see if we could come up with a good plan to sell a lot of tickets.
Yeah, because I mean, just imagine if we actually were competing with this huge guy, and symphony and Eurovision night and everything. If there would be nothing particularly unique going on. Yeah. I know there's always something going on, but it has to be something unique to actually compete with it. That, I mean, we could definitely sell 150.
Maybe we could do Menningarnótt again.
Yeah, we could be,
we will be competing with other events, but there are also more people going out.
Yeah, exactly. And now we have this contact with the radio. Yeah. We could, because I'm pretty sure if we would have been able to go to the radio like on Wednesday and then again on Friday, that would change the game a lot. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Now we just need to get to the TV that nobody watch.
Who doesn't want to talk to us? Yeah. Yeah. But so our time here at this studio is about done. But do you have anything you want to plug? Anything you want to promote?
Yeah. I mean, if you live here in Iceland, we do English comedy now. In Dubliner, we have open mic also in Mál og Menning. Every other Monday, we have a showcase at Gaukurinn. And now in Mars, Catalina is going to start. I think they're going to do every Friday for at least a month. So And then we have it's twice a month now in at Loft.
Once a month now. Yeah.
Once a month now.
Next time, 15th of March.
Okay.
It was too much work to do it twice a month. So.
And I would also like to say, people that have gas cars, please do not park in where us the nature boys supposed to park.
Nature boys represent.
Yeah. I mean, next time I see somebody do that, I'm gonna drag him out.
Yeah.
And to save the earth, I'm going to bury him.
Let's go out right now and kill the guy.
Let's do it.
Yeah. All right. You heard it here first.
Yep.
It's too late to call the police. He'll be dead by the time you see this.
Yep.
See you until next time. Bye.